Hello? Hello, can I get to Mr. Davies? Hello?
The Doomsday Clock has been as close as 2 minutes to midnight in 1953, when the US and then Soviet Union were testing their hydrogen bombs, and as far away as 17 minutes to midnight in 1991. We considered at length the lack of predictability in how the United States is thinking about the future and future use of its own nuclear weapons, and unpredictability that it is embodied in statements and tweets by the President of the United States.
Bolton's clock now stands at 2 minutes to midnight, which I want to emphasize is as close as it has ever been to midnight in the 71-year history of the clock.
I love you, but what are you doing?
I'm doing the Plausibly Live podcast.
That's funny.
Hey, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are and whatever you do. A lot of things happening in the world today, most of them far beyond our control, you might say. So perhaps it's time we took a pause and thought about life and thought about the laws of gravity, philosophy, broadcasting, and humanity. Don't touch that dial. Just try to hear me out for a while. Well, welcome to the Big Plugs Out test, where I'm doing some final tune-up on our broadcast system, which we hope will lead to a really cool opportunity in the near future. We'll talk about that. The Doomsday Clock was created 70 years ago. It's been advanced to just 2 minutes before midnight with great fanfare and pained explanations. You won't be surprised at whose fault it is that we are closer than ever to annihilation. Or maybe you will be. Here's how you get a hold of me. The text machine is open. That's right. The vaunted text machine is open and does work. Area code 209-565-DAVE. 209-565-3283. Email is dave@thedavebowmanshow.com. And, of course, we're on the web, probably even the dark web. Just look for The Dave Bowman Show on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, and your preferred non-denominational web search engine. Eloqui conitio. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge.
I love you so much, Dad. And this is really cool that I love my mom and dad so much every day. But
It's hard to believe Ben's been around for as long as he has been. Gosh. 8 years ago, I guess, today. 8 years ago today, he was, we thought we were going to lose him. And so we've started over with all of that. It's just kind of a reminder of all of that. So what are we doing here? This is kind of a unique way of doing things, but it's the coming thing. All right. So it isn't so much a question of, Dave, did you want to do it this way? Do you like doing it this way? Look, I love the podcast. The podcast is easy. I mean, it really is. It's time consuming, but it's very easy. Because see, the podcast, you don't do, you do almost everything post-production. Okay. So I sit down and I record 30 minutes, 90 minutes, whatever it is, however long I want to talk about, whatever I want to talk about. And then I take that chunk that I've recorded. I got to fix this microphone. Put that on the list of things we got to fix, the microphone. So you take that chunk that you've recorded and you take it into post-production and you add all the bells and whistles so that it makes it sound, coherent from beginning to end. Can't do that here. This is a live show. You may be watching it on video. You may be listening on the podcast, but this is being done as a live show from start to finish. So we had to get the software to control it, much like the radio station has. It's not the next gen system that we had there, but it is very similar in functionality to that. So we do have that. This is, as I said, it's the coming thing. This is the way even broadcast radio is headed towards. There aren't a lot of radio jobs, as you might know, but oddly enough, here in Silverdale, Washington, we do in fact have a conservative chat radio station. It's a very small station. It's very similar to KFIV in size. and wattage and power and all that sort of things. It's a little bit different as a business function. It functions as a not-for-profit. So there's a little bit different drive to it. Also, I can't stop the tape to snip my coffee, so you're gonna have to get used to that again. But they constantly run ads looking for shows and show hosts. And so for the past, I don't know, 3-4 months, I guess, we have been talking. I'm going to say talking, but it's really emails and phone messages and sorry, I missed you. Can you get back to me? But kind of, phone tag sort of thing is what we used to call it. I don't know what we call it. What do we call phone tag now in the day of electronic communication? Anybody we got a chat room, folks. So you can go, if you scroll down, you'll see off to the right there inside there, the live chat. So we brought the chat room back. Still got the text machine, 565 Dave. Email is still available if you want to go that way. Dave at the Dave Bowman Show. I don't know what you'd call it in today's era. Anyway, slowly, like the orbit of Pluto, I feel like we're making a little bit of progress on this. And the concept that I'm trying to get them to buy into, whether it works or not is really irrelevant to me. But what we're testing tonight is the ability to encode this so that it can feed to them should they ever decide that this is what they want. If they don't, we'll keep doing it this way because, frankly, I like doing live. I like phone tag. But Buster says in the chat room, call it phone tag. You call it phone tag when it's texting, though, and emailing? Anyway, that's the hope, is that maybe we can convince them and get at least some portions of what was once the Dave Bowman Show, Afternoons Live, and or Plausibly Live, onto live radio again. And so we're going to do this until we can convince people that that's the way to go. What it means for the future, obviously, is that this is how we're going to do it. Now, some of you are so used to listening to the podcast, that's fine. This will still be converted into the podcast. You just won't be able to see it. So you'll hear everything that we're saying. It's going to sound not as clean. I will tell you that point blank. It's not going to sound as studio quality as it used to. Yeah, it depends on your age. That's right. But there is a certain element to it that I kind of will like better. It certainly simplifies the post-production process. I'm not going to lie about that. But at the same time, it does require a great deal more pre-show preparation. So, for example, again, today is a test. This is not a real show. So if we're going to talk about, I only really picked one topic to just kind of fill some time here. What I'm trying to do is run from beginning to break to second segment to break to third segment to out, just to make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to do. All the software works. I know what buttons to push in the right order. So it's not as detailed nor as twisted, I guess, as a regular show would be. However, we're back to live interaction again. It's not a podcast where I'm just sitting in front of a microphone with a few emails, maybe somebody in the room once in a while, maybe not. But we're back to the text machine is there. That's going to work. We have the live chat. And eventually, I haven't decided how I want to work this yet. In the old chat room, back in the old KFIV days, the old stick cam chat room days. Sorry, I had to drink some coffee there. We had the live chat room that had cameras. I mean, people could bring their cameras into the chat room and they could all see each other. And one of the great things about that was the chat room kind of became its own little entity, I suppose would be the best way to put it. It really became its own creation to the point where I had to appoint a chat room monitor. Saul was the iron fist of discipline in the chat room. And John hated the chat room, if you recall. And they would chat amongst themselves in addition to the people that were on everything else. So it was great. And eventually, because of the software problems, it went away. And that was part of I think John just killed it. I think that's what ended up happening. Anyway, so this will be much more live, much more interactive as the radio show once was. The question becomes, how often do I do it? Now, there's a part of me that would like to do it every day. I just don't think that that's realistic. There's a part of me that says, Dave, do it once a week, pick a night, do it that night. But I'm not sure. I mean, quite frankly, I got a lot to say about things. And you have a lot to say about things. And we've got a lot of things to talk about. But given that, we've got to figure out how to, what the happy medium is. Doing one podcast a week was not meeting it. Doing 6 a week was just too much. So I don't know. And obviously it's not going to be a 3-hour radio show every day. So there is that aspect of it. Do we make it a half an hour 4 times a week? Do we make it whatever? The other thing, and this is the important part of this, is the part of the show that I'm really trying to sell is, of course, Constitution Thursday. So we're almost swearing that we're going to bring that back as a regular feature. There's one issue with it that I have to talk to somebody about before I start doing that live again. There's just one particular issue that has to be resolved before we do that. And once I get that issue resolved, then we can go on from there. And hopefully we will have a way to do it. That's the other thing about a live show is Ben's here. So he just walked in, waved, walked out and closed the door. And I struggled with that when I was doing the podcast because he would often interrupt me during the podcast, but I would edit it out. So you never knew. Well, here, if he interrupts, you're going to know. And I really decided today, and I'll explain why in segment two. I really decided today to just basically say, screw it. If he comes in, he comes in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It's live. It's live radio. It's live. I hate to call it television because it's really not, but it's radio being broadcast on YouTube. And I just sort of decided, you know what? If he interrupts, he interrupts. And that's just the way it's going to be, because I'm going to drive myself nuts if I keep trying to make everything absolutely perfect with Ben. And I just can't do that. So there you go. So that's what we're doing. Now, as far as tonight goes, I want to, for YouTube purposes and some other people's purposes, what I want to say to you is there are no paid advertisements on this show tonight. You will not hear any paid advertisements at all. You will hear some advertisements, but they are classic radio ads, and they are simply placeholders. I've only put them here because I'm trying to make sure the software works. We are in the process of selling ads. I do have at least 2 advertisers already lined up who are ready to go once the show goes live. And there's obviously room for more. It's not expensive. It's not, most of it's just trade. I mean, I'm not in this to make a lot of money. I'm not in it really to make money at all. I don't do this to make money. If I were being paid by a radio station or a radio production company, that'd be a different story, but I'm not. This is because it's my passion. It's because I enjoy it. And because there's a part of me, every radio show host has an ego. There's a part of me that believes that you want to hear it. If I didn't believe that above all else, I would not sit here for nobody. I would not sit here if I was getting 3 downloads a podcast. I wouldn't do it. But because of the interest in the podcast and because of the interest in the page and stuff like that, I believe that people want to. I'm always amazed that people want to hear what I think about things, but they do. And so off we go. And Rodbo says in the chat room, we do. Rodbo, by the way, if you missed the Ale Evangelist show that was released this morning on Podcast 99, go to our page, facebook.com/podcast99, or the Ale Evangelist show page, or even my page, Plausibly, the Dave Bowman show. And you can hear Rodbo, Sir Rodbo, as he puts it, on the Ale Evangelist show. That's a great show, man. I would love, I used to get one show a year for 6 years. I got one show a year where I could drink on the air. These guys, man, they got beer on every show. They test beer for you and let you know how it is. So you probably want to check that out. All right. So back to what I was saying. None of these ads are paid ads. These are just placeholder ads. They are nothing more than an attempt to make sure that timing works, that everything is in place. So don't get really hyper about the ads. It's not like I'm in the old radio days, during the break, running out and getting coffee or anything. I'm just going to be sitting here, not picking my toenails and pretending that we're taking a real radio break. Sometimes I will turn the camera off so that it has the little thing up there where it says has my picture on it or whatever. And sometimes I'll leave it on. I don't know. It depends on what I'm doing or if I'm wearing pants. If I'm not, I'll probably will turn it off. But I'm here. Chat room, like I said, is open right down there at the bottom. You can go down, scroll down off to the right there. You'll see the interactive live chat, or you can text me area code 209-565-DAVE. That's 3283. Oh, and we're also working on possibly, I experimented with it last night. The experiment did not go well, but there was there was a problem with the test. And the problem was I was using Ben to make the test. And Ben is a genius when it comes to technology, but he cannot use a telephone. He cannot use it. He does not know how to use it. So he'll pick up a phone and he won't put it up to his ears because he thinks that it should be on speaker and he doesn't know how to turn on the speaker. So I was trying to get him to test the phones last night, and it seemed like it worked, but I couldn't really tell if he was, because he wasn't talking into it right and he couldn't hear me because he wasn't listening right. But I'm hoping that we will have phones again, which would be really nice. But having a chat room, text machine, all that stuff is really good. So again, one last time, these are not real ads. Nobody, Alka-Seltzer did not pay me. Neither did this gas station in Chicago. It's just placeholder stuff. So don't look at that and go, well, Dave's shilling for that. Dave's selling that. No, I'm not. I'm just trying to make things work and make sure that they work well enough that we can go on in the future. All right, we got to take a break. It is Plausibly Live, the Dave Bowman Show podcast, right here on the Podcast 99 Network. Stay with us. Back right after this.
I'm waiting for my cheese, so hand it to me, man. The cheese, it hits my mouth, oh yeah, it tastes so good. I'm gonna take it home and gamble it away in the hood.
You worked too hard, you ate too much, the cheesecake made you greedy. Let your aching head and stomach hear this message from old Speedy. Alka-Seltzer, plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. Ah, those speedy Alka-Seltzer bubbles burst into action to relieve your upset stomach and aching head fast. It's only as directed. Oh, what a relief it is. What a relief.
98. It's here now. New 98 Super Premium at the red, white, and blue Ingram sign. Power plus economy at your friendly Ingram oil dealers now. Here's a man that really appreciates that new Ingram power.
Take a tip from me, Harlan Hill up the Chicago Bay. I'm a professional plastic saver, and the red, white, and blue Ingram disc is the best catch I ever made. You can get Ingram's new 98 Super Premium gasoline at your friendly Ingram dealer today. This is another forward step by Ingram, a company that is producing for the present and planning for the future. Remember, you get power plus economy when you fill your car with Ingram's new 98 Super Premium. Watch for the Ingram sign.
Get more gold for your dough with Ingram's new 98 Super Premium at the white Ingram pump with the red top. Get Ingram 98 Platinum Treated Gasoline at these friendly Ingram dealers.
Hi, I'd like to apply for a student loan.
Wonderful. We just need to verify that you've registered with Selective Service.
But I haven't registered.
Oh.
Hi, I'd like to sign up for a job training program.
Fantastic. This program is great for learning the skills that help you get a good job. Let's just check to make sure you've registered with Selective Service.
Well, I haven't registered.
Oh.
Thank you for letting me interview for this government job. I'm really excited about working here.
Well, yes, but your records indicate that you're not registered with Selective Service. I'm sorry.
Young men who fail to register with Selective Service can find a lot of doors closed to them. The law requires that all men register with Selective Service within 30 days of their 18th birthday. If you don't, you lose your right to receive student loans and job training, and you're shut out of federal employment. Don't close the doors to your future. Register with Selective Service online at www.sss.gov or at your post office.
welcome back. It is Plausibly Live, the Dave Bowman Show, right here on the Podcast 99 Radio Network. We're going to call it that, even if we want. You're listening to the dulcet tones of the greatest local band ever, Earl. Still my favorite. Those guys are awesome. They just had their final concert, too, and I missed it because I was up here. Anyway, the upshot of all this is that we're starting over, and hopefully this will get us off on the right foot. It's so cool to have the chat room again, to be able. Now the problem is I can't see it really, really well. I've got to get new glasses, and I keep putting it off because when we moved up here, we got new insurance, obviously, from Cammie's job, but we didn't get vision because we had just gotten new glasses a year before, both of us. So we waited until January to get new glasses, or to get new insurance that had vision plan on it. And there you go. So got to get new glasses. They're probably going to be bifocals. Then I probably will be able to see that, watching you on my TV and the chat on the phone. Excellent. This is great. So again, I don't know how often we're going to do this. If you asked me right this moment, I'd be leaning towards 5 times a week, but I don't think that's going to really work all that well. So today is Yom H'Shoah. Rodbo said we remember in the chat room. That, of course, is Holocaust Remembrance Day. It was also Shabbat most of the day. I've started doing a thing. I can't get myself to the point where I can completely detach from social media, but I've gotten to the point now where sundown on Friday, Shabbat, I can do it overnight. And I'll tell you what, it's kind of nice just to step back away from that and not pay attention to it for a few hours. It's been really nice. Ben is sometimes explaining things to him is a little bit more difficult than I imagine it would be, especially for somebody that teaches history the way I do. He is fascinated by underwater technology, not submarines. He does not like submarines. Took him to Portland to see the USS Blueback. He was not impressed. In fact, what he said on the pier was, "Dad, I don't think I could do that." But he is fascinated by sunken ships. The Titanic, the Lusitania, the Britannic, the Andrea Doria, the Bismarck. His favorite is the Titanic. All others pale in comparison, but he's into the others. We were reading Bob Ballard's book the other night on the discovery of the Bismarck's wreck, and he was looking at the overhead picture. There's a drawing of the ship on the bottom, and it has the swastikas on the bow and the stern because aircraft identification systems, that's what they did back in the 40s and World War II. And he asked me what those were, and I was trying to explain to him the symbolism of Nazi Germany and the evil of that. What I said to him was they killed millions of people, including 6 million Jews, just because they were Jewish. And his actual quote was, "That doesn't make any sense at all," which is actually kind of true. It doesn't really make any sense at all. We look at it today and we go, what the hell were people thinking? And we can't really put anything to it, but sometimes the wisdom of a 7-year-old, it doesn't make any sense. You wonder if somebody back then had said that to him. Maybe things have been different. I don't know. But that was trying to teach him Yom H'Shoah, which is interesting because today was also the anniversary of the day we thought we lost him as before he was born. Cammie had gone the day before to get a sonogram, which has one of my favorite pictures of him, a sonogram, where he looks like, I called the picture my slee stack because he looks like the old slee stack from the original Land of the Lost, not the remake movie, which is, I thought the movie was pretty good, but anyway, he looks like a slee stack to me. But she had also gotten an amniotesis test. We to this day, we don't know why she did. We've talked about it. It wouldn't have mattered if there were birth defects or not. We would not have aborted him, but she wanted to know. And so she got the test primarily, I think, because she wanted to know boy or girl. And Cammie already had 4 girls. I have 4 stepdaughters, and she just wanted to know. So she got the test. Well, the next morning I was on my way, I think, to work. She insists that I was going to Tehachapi. I can't imagine why I would have been going to Tehachapi then, but at any rate, I ended up not going to work because she called me in a panic. And without getting too graphic about what had happened, we thought we had lost him. And so we had to go in for an emergency sonogram, at which it was the first time I'd seen a sonogram live, all I'd ever seen were the pictures. And it's still the most fascinating day of my life, the most amazing day of my life, standing there watching. She's over on the table with the technician rubbing the thing all over her. And they're projecting this. I'm not looking at a screen. They're projecting this up on a giant screen on the wall. And I just happened to have my video camera with me for some reason. Apparently I needed it wherever I was going. And I happened to videotape it. And so I still have it where they're showing him moving and he's breathing. And then they cut to his heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. And I was showing him that this morning and thinking, that's the first time I ever really saw you. And it just, it was an incredible moment. It really was. And I guess to be reminded of that on Yom H'Shoah is, there's some significance there. I'm not completely clear on what it is. That's the other problem with doing this live instead of as a podcast. I don't always, have all my thoughts together. And if I say something incredibly stupid in the podcast, I just stop the tape, cut it out, whatever. Here, I can't do that. So I don't really know what the significance of it was, but I know that it means something to me to remember my own experiences at the Yad Vashem Museum in Jerusalem, and know that this was also the day that I could have lost my son before I even got to meet him. It was pretty impressive. So then he starts lecturing me. He's knocking on the door right now. Then he starts lecturing me about wanting me to eat healthier. And so I guess we're going to eat healthier. What do you want, Ben? He's knocking on the door. What do you want? I'm on the air. He's coming in. See, I told you earlier we weren't going to do this. What do you want? Close the door. Hey, close the door. Ben, close the door. What? I cannot hear you. You got to talk. Okay, time out. What? You got to say something. I can't. It's live. Can't pause it, dude. No can do. So, Ben's speech. Ben, they want you to say something. Say hi to everybody. Come on, hop up. There you go. Close the door on your way out, bud. Close the door. Close the door on your way out. Yeah, now he's just clapping to make noise. Anyway, he wants me to eat healthier. So, Cam and I actually decided about 2 weeks ago, all through the holidays, it seemed like we just ate out every freaking meal. And that gets old after a while because there's only so many places you can eat. So we've started eating a little bit healthier. I have not given up my coffee. Only somebody sent me tonight an article about type 2 diabetics and coffee. Now, apparently, coffee is not good for type 2 diabetics, but it might be. They don't really know. They don't have enough research. So they can't figure it out. Is this good? Is it not good? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We don't know. And at the end of the day, well, I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. I don't know what to do is kind of my problem with it. I do know I had so I had to go see a urologist yesterday because my PSA is elevated. Yep, that's right. My PSA is elevated. Now, slightly elevated. So they're making a big deal about this because I'm in my 55th year and I have to go to the bathroom a lot. They keep forgetting as they put me on medicine that makes me go to the bathroom a lot. Other students would dismiss. Yeah, other studies would dismiss. Yeah, that's exactly my point. They can't make up their minds. So I figure it hasn't killed me yet. So I had to go to the prostate exam, which I don't want to share too much, but they decided to do, because the first thing you do is you go in there and you fill a bottle, and they want you to completely fill the bottle. They want it empty. They want everything inside of you empty. So I emptied. And then 10 minutes later, they want you to do it again. I'm like, I can't do that. How am I supposed to do that? She says, here, drink this. So she starts handing me little cups of water. Okay, so I'm slamming these down. And then she says, now let's massage your prostate, but not vigorously. Not vigorously. Just a little bit. Like, what? So anyway, needless to say, I filled another cup. I was surprised. I didn't know it worked that way. But there you go. Rod Buzz already. Both's already on the prostate meds. Not big on it. Anyway, it turns out, after all of this, that I just have a big prostate, not an enlarged prostate. Okay, there's a distinction. There's enlarged, which is not natural, and there's just big. I'm a big guy, so I got a bigger one. So of course my PSA is going to be slightly elevated because it's bigger. And at the end of the day, well, if it's bigger, then there you go. Still don't know if anything's wrong with me. Still don't know what we're going to do about it. But you know how this whole thing goes. That's the problem with it. All right, we're going to take another break. Again, no paid advertisements here. These are just placeholders. When we get back, we'll talk about the Doomsday Clock, because the Doomsday Clock is all the news today. It's all the rage, all the discussion. What does it mean? Why should you even care? Talk about all that next, coming up on Plausibly Live, the Dave Bowman Show on the Podcast 99 Radio Network.
Working at the job every day, and it's still the same. Bosses in your face, every way, nothing's gonna change. Pressure makes hate, I hate his face,
Haida Computers is the area's leading computer repair center. Located in downtown Ripon, we can meet all of your residential and small business needs. We specialize in virus removal, tune-up and optimizations, hardware and software troubleshooting, data recovery, web design, and everything in between. We offer services here in our state-of-the-art repair center and at your home, and even remotely through the internet. Call us at 209-599-1500 or visit us online at www.haidacomputers.com.
Hi, I'm Gil Fulbright. The people who run my campaign, they've made this commercial, and I'm in it. This campaign, it's not about me. It's about crafting a version of me that'll appeal to you. A version that visits random work sites with paid actors pointing at things. A version of me that doesn't find old people loathsome or pointless. Has a conventionally attractive yet curiously still family. Listening to my constituents, legislating, these are things I don't do. What I do is spend about 70% of my time raising funds for re-election. I'd do anything to stay in office. My name's Gil Fulbright, but hell, I'll change my name to Phil Goldbright or Bill Fulbright or fill up my mouth with farts. These are the things that are important to me. And these are the fine people that finance my campaign. Now, in order to do these things, I have to stay in office. And to stay in office, I have to keep these guys happy. Now, if any of these things make these guys unhappy, well, my hands are tied. So come November, the choice is clear. Do you want another spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? Or a spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? I'm Philip, a mouth with farts, and I approve this message.
Hey, welcome back. It is Plausibly Live, the Dave Bowman Show, Podcast 99 Radio Network. That sounds so cool, doesn't it? The Podcast 99 Radio Network. I love it. You other shows, by the way, you better get hot too, right? Because we're gonna have to figure out how to get the Ale Evangelist show doing that. Jay, you got to figure out how to get your show on this. We're gonna do all of this, and then we can start doing it 24/7 and go from there, right? That'd be great. Buster says he saw the sun 2 days in a row. Yeah, well, I would imagine. I mean, don't take this wrong, but you live in California. You live in Central California. Of course you did. Yay! Try living up here. I've seen Mount Rainier. I have a beautiful view of Mount Rainier from the end of my street. So the Podcast 99 Studios, the Pac Northwest Division up here, is located 2.8 miles from beautiful downtown Silverdale, home of whaling days, and the submarine capital of the world. Now that New London has kind of relinquished that, but we have a beautiful view of Mount Rainier from the end of my street, not from my house, but from the end of my. I guess if I got up on my roof, I could see it, but I'm not doing it. So, but I haven't seen Mount Rainier in 2 weeks, at least. We did have a sunny day yesterday, but I wasn't out driving around, so I don't know if we saw it or not. Well, there you go. So the Doomsday Clock, in case you missed the news, and I don't know how you could have, this is what they had to say.
The Doomsday Clock has been as close as 2 minutes to midnight in 1953, when the U.S. and then Soviet Union were testing their hydrogen bombs, and as far away as 17 minutes to midnight in 1991. We considered at length the lack of predictability in how the United States is thinking about the future and future use of its own nuclear weapons, and unpredictability that it is embodied in statements and tweets by the President of the United States.
Bolton's clock now stands at 2 minutes to midnight, which I want to emphasize is as close as it has ever been to midnight in the 71-year history of the clock.
Oh my God, it's the closest it's ever been. We're all going to die, right? And that's what they want you to believe. The problem is with this Doomsday Clock. Now, this Doomsday Clock has been around for 70 years. Believe me, we heard about it back in the 80s when I was making patrols at a Bangor here for a few years out of Bangor, and we heard about it back then. And we'd drive through the trigger gate every now and then, and the nuns would be out protesting, and we'd hear about how we're close because the nuclear cowboy is in the office, Ronald Reagan. He's going to nuke everybody. We're all going to, and the stupidest part of this whole Doomsday Clock is that it's always the fault of the United States. It's always what we're doing that's causing something to be close to the destruction of the world. You notice that? We're 2 minutes. We're closer than we've been since 1953, right? When both sides were testing hydrogen bombs and the Soviets were building the Tsara bomb, the biggest bomb, scaled down. It was 60 megatons, and it was scaled down from 100. But we're the problem. Okay? So if you look around the world today, and you're thinking solely nuclear weapons, where's the real problem? Where's the real problem with nuclear weapons today? Is the real problem in the world today the President of the United States tweeting, "Don't threaten us. If you do, you'll get some fire and fury and you won't like it"? Or is the problem some lunatic short guy with a small penis? Because I don't know if you knew this or not, but North Koreans have the average smallest penis in the entire world. Did you know that? It's true. You can look it up. It's on the internet. You can look it up. God, I've waited to do that for so long. It's on the internet. You can look it up. It's true, though. Is that the real problem with this lunatic throwing up missiles and testing bombs left and right? We're not doing that. Who is it that's doing that? But it's the president's fault because he's sending out texts and tweets saying, well, there you go. It must be the United States' fault. The problem with this clock, of course, sorry, got to get a cough button too. Don't really have one. The problem with this stupid clock is that since 2007, they changed the clock so that it's not just considering nuclear weapons anymore. Now it's considering existential threats of all kinds, which of course are all caused by good old us, the United States of America. We're the ones that always cause these existential, we're all going to die threats. You see, whether it's global warming, which if you really read their statement and listen to the entire statement they make, that's the primary reason. They're also listing things like biochemical experimentation, biochemical problems, biochemical ideas and experimentation. This idea that somehow or another the United States is the United States. Now, I have no doubt that we are experimenting with biochemical stuff, but we're not the only goddamn ones doing it. See, that's the other thing is I can say bad words now too. I probably shouldn't do that though, because we're probably going to try to, like I said, the idea here is we're trying to feed this into an actual station. So bleep that out. We actually do have the capability for a delay here. I guess I should turn that on. Beep. Dave said a bad word. Only one though. Do you realize I've been going for almost 40 minutes and I've only said one bad word? I never do that on the podcast. I always go at least 2 or 3 in there, right? Anyway, the threats on the multiple fronts are escalation in the nuclear realm, which they actually do blame a little bit on North Korea, South Asia and the Middle East. South Asia? Who's South Asia? Anybody want to take a guess at who South Asia is? Keep in mind that this is from an English Great Britain paper. What is Southwestern Asia? Bueller? See, I got to get that on the drop. Bueller? Do you know what Southwest Asia is in English newspaper? That's Iran. So Iran, South Asia, that would be Pakistan, those kind of places. Anyway, the absence of nuclear arms control agreements between the U.S. and Russia, that's causing severe alarm. And we're panicked about that. But also, like I said, greenhouse gas emissions, sea ice cover, climate denialists installed in top administrative positions in the United States and U.S. withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord, emergent technologies. The Science and Security Board said in a statement, the rapid spread of disinformation, fake news. The rapid spread of fake news is part of the reason why the Doomsday Clock is now set to 2 minutes to minute. I mean, I could sit here and rant about fake news forever. Look, I got problems with fake news. You have problems with it. We all have problems with fake news. I get it. The problem with fake news isn't the fake news. It's the morons who believe it. I read a story today. I swear to God, somebody sent me a story today about flu prevention. Now, you know this. I'm a vaccination person. I got a flu shot. My son got a flu shot. My wife is required to get a flu shot. We get flu shots. I didn't get the flu. I did get the norovirus. That was a bad time. This person sent me this article saying, Dave, here's how you prevent the flu. Don't get the vaccination. Get an onion. An onion. Cut it in half and put pieces of onion around your house. Now, I swear to God, this is what they wanted me to do. Now, first off, onions don't smell. I mean, they smell good, but you don't want rotting onion smell through your house. You just don't. And frankly, having the flu for 3 or 4 days versus rotting onion smell in your house, it's kind of a trade-off. I don't know which one's worse. Yeah, I do, the rotting onion smell. But then they explained to me over and over again, these are the exact words. This is a quote. A scientist examined the onions later and found that it had absorbed the bacteria, thus preventing the flu spread. And I looked at this person and said, do you really believe that? Well, yes, I've got onions around my house now. I said, well, that's the problem with fake news, is the morons who believe it. What do you mean, she said? The flu is not bacteria, it's a virus. Of course the onion collects bacteria. Your shoes are collecting bacteria. Your paper plates are collecting. Everything in your house is collecting bacteria, you moron. Which I didn't actually say moron, but I was thinking it, so it counts, right? That's the problem with fake news. The problem with fake news is people reposting it because they don't take the time to think about it. They don't take the time to even consider if such a thing can be true. Oh my God, did you know the refrigerators on Air Force One are going to cost $24 million? This must be Trump's fault. Trump is wasting our tax dollars. This is all over the papers today. If you're on social media, you've seen this. The people who don't like Trump, he's lying, he's wasting money. $24 million for a couple of refrigerators on Air Force One? That's crazy. You can go down to Sears and buy a couple for a few $100s. Well, of course, nobody's taking into account the fact that the Air Force has certain criteria established by Congress that says they have to meet this criteria and this criteria and this criteria. And by the way, these are experimental refrigerators. Is it necessary? Probably not. But I'm pretty sure the president wasn't sitting around his office one day going, you know what? I'd like to spend $24 million on refrigerators. Why not? That didn't happen. Just like it didn't happen when President Obama was president or President Clinton or President Bush or anybody else. But morons believe this stuff. And so they repost it and they start screaming and yelling about it. And the next thing you know, you're in a big old argument on the internet. And I've learned quite well this past weekend that the problem with internet arguments is not only is there never any solution to them, but the real problem is that nobody can believe or accept that somebody on the other side might agree with them or be right about something. You're on the other side. So everything you say must be wrong, must be right, cannot be right. That's great for talk radio 101. It really is. I mean, that's what talk radio at its base core really is. Let's pick the most inane topic of the day. Topic A is what they call it. And let's argue about it. But let's not really argue about it. Let's scream and yell about it. And then let people call and agree with me. And if they disagree with me, I'll yell at them on the air and tell them that they're stupid and hang up on them. Talk Radio 101. Of course, we don't do that here because, A, we don't have phones yet. Hopefully we will. I'm embarrassed somewhat to say that in my early days at KFIV, I certainly did that because that's what I was told to do. And it wasn't until I realized later on that this is stupid. This is innate. This is embarrassing. And I thought, we got to do this another way. We got to be smarter than that. And that's why anybody who's posting this Doomsday Clock stands at 2 minutes to midnight, well, don't assume that they're a moron, but pull them aside and quietly say to them, why would you even worry about that? It's been 2 minutes before. It was 2 minutes to midnight in 1953. What happened? Bueller? I got to get that drop. Bueller? Anything? No. What happened in 62 with the missile crisis? What happened in 84 with Abel Archer? What happened was it 91, 92, somewhere in there where the Norwegians, this is a true story. It's on the internet. It's on the internet. You can look it up. Got to get that one too. The Norwegians, believe it or not, put up a rocket, some sort of scientific rocket. I don't think it was a satellite, but it was a sounding rocket, some kind of ballistic rocket. They told everybody that they were doing this. Everybody got the message, except the people at the Kremlin. I swear to God, they thought it was a launch. They thought Norway was nuking them. And they damn near reacted as if Norway is nuking us. And everybody went, well, this shows that we've got to change the systems. This shows that we've got a problem. This shows that it's Norway, for God's sake. They don't have nuclear weapons. And even if they did, how long would a nuclear war between Norway and the Soviet Union last? We got to stop believing stupid crap. We got to stop believing stuff that's absurd. We got to stop doing that, but we're doing it to ourselves, and I don't know how we do it. Yep, it's the toilet paper thing. That's exactly right. Buster says in the chat room. I put that on my Facebook page. If you're friends with me, you saw it on my personal Facebook page the other day for a very specific reason. It's a running joke between Bill Mick and I. When I was first starting in this business, Bill would say to me, look, if you want to generate phone calls, all you got to do is start talking about which way the toilet paper goes on a roll. That's all you got to do. You'll get calls left, right, blah, blah, blah. You'll get argument, men, women. It doesn't matter what demographic you want. You can get it with that. And so we've always kind of laughed about that. But it's truth. There's sad truth in that. I'm not really interested in debating stupid crap. I want to talk about real issues, real things. I don't want to talk about crazy people who are running for the president of the United States because they think they got arrested wrong. I don't want to talk about that kind of BS. I want to talk about substantial, meaningful issues. I want to talk about my life. I want to talk about how my days. It's the Dave Bowman Show. My name's right there on the title. It's about what I think about things, but I want to hear what you think about them too. That's why I have a chat room. It's why I have an email, dave@thedavebowmanshow.com. That's why I have a Facebook page, The Dave Bowman Show. That's why I have a website, thedavebowmanshow.com. That's why I have a text machine, area code 209-565-DAVE. Let me know what you think about things. And it doesn't matter. The text machine, by the way, is 24/7. You can text me. You can leave me a voicemail on there anytime you want. And it doesn't matter what the subject is. You want to talk to me about something? You want to know what I think about it? Let me know that you want to talk about those things. I would love to hear from you about what's going on, about what you think, so that I can include that in what I think. Yeah, it's my show. Yeah, it's about what I think. It's about what I think you need to know in your thought processes. But I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm not going to tell you how to think. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. Although I did vote against all of the levies this week that we've put on our school district here. I love our schools, but I'm not paying an extra $1,000 a year so we can have a few nice things. Go out and have a bake sale or something, for God's sake. Okay? That's what that is. Anyway, thanks everybody for being a part of this night. This was just I was really only planning for to be here for about 30 minutes, but it's ended up being a bit longer than that. It's just a test. That's all this was tonight. This is not a real show. That's why I kind of pulled back on getting fired up too much there. This was, the idea here is to just make sure everything works. From the feedback I'm getting, everything is working on the other end. There's some text rolling in here. I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention to the text machine, but I should have been. It looks like everything's working. It looks like the software's working. We've only had one small hiccup in that, and that was my fault for pushing the wrong button. So let's see. Somebody's texting me pictures of them watching the show. That's cool. That's what's going on there. So again, if you've watched this or listened to this, let me know what you think. If you think this is worth doing on a regular basis, then let me hear from you and let me know what you think, and let me know what you want to do with it. Cause I'm open. I'm just pushing the wrong buttons again. Oh, that's not supposed to be quite that loud. All right, let's try that again. See, it's supposed to go. See, I told you this was a test. Okay. So let's put it in that and see how that works. See, if you put it on the deck, then I can lower the volume of it a little bit better. I'll cut that out of the podcast, though. How's that? Or maybe not. All right, everybody, I got to get running. Take the time right now. Tell the people that matter in your life you love them very much. You would miss them if they weren't there, so don't pass up those opportunities. You do not want to have that regret. I'm Dave Bowman, Plausibly Live. This is the Dave Bowman Show on the Podcast 99 Radio Network. We'll see you again real soon for a real show, not just a test. Test complete. Plugs in.
Plausibly Live is a Slippery Fish entertainment production for the Podcast 99 Network. To contact Dave directly, call or text area code 209-565-DAVE. That's 209-565-3283. The email address is dave@thedavebowmanshow.com. For more information or to hear past shows, go to www.plausiblylive.com.
Hey, I'm going to go do something productive. I'm going to go watch television.
All right. How did it sound? You guys in the chat room? I mean, I can hear what's going through the board, but I don't, because of the latency issues with the internet, I don't know. And I'm told by the people that are listening to the AAC feed that it's fine. But how is it in the chat room? Where did everybody run? Great, says Rod Boo. Good. I'm assuming this text is from you, Guy. See, I get to call you Guy again. That's kind of cool too. All right. I really hope that we're getting as I'm really trying to sell these guys on Constitution Thursday as a broadcast thing again. I'd love to do the whole show again, but the problem is Cammy's schedule. I can't do a 3 to 6 show. That's just out of the question. But there's some other possibilities, and we'll see how well it goes. And if not, we'll just keep doing this, and we'll get these other shows. Ale Evangelist guys. Jay, we'll get those guys and we'll start working on them to get live as well. So, all right, folks, I'm out of here. We will see you all again real soon. Pay attention to I'll let you know when we're going to do it. And there you go. Okay. Good night, everybody.